If you're an Amazon seller, you're probably asking the question, well, which codes do I actually need? Which barcodes do I need for my product? And then what about those other ones called UPCs? Aren't those non-Amazon versus an FNSKU? Let me break it down for you. Well, what codes do I actually need for my Amazon business? Now, I'm so glad you asked because there are two main kinds of codes. First of all, you have what are called universal product codes. Now, do not confuse this with a UPC. By universal, I mean ones that can be used in most places in the world that are not specific to an organization such as eBay or Walmart or Jet or Amazon. Second, you have codes that are unique to a specific organization. So this would be codes that are unique to a company like Amazon. So a universal product codes, the most important ones you need to know is the UPC, the EAN, the IAN, the ISBN, the PZN, and of course, last but not least, the GTIN, which is the main one, which I will explain. For Amazon, the main codes you need to understand are the ASIN, ASIN, the FNSKU, and the GCID. I don't know, it sounds like kind of official. What's up, you part of the GCID? Now the question happens, well, which one do I pick? When you go to create your Amazon listing and you click that drop down, you're gonna notice all of these options right here. So how do I know which one I'm supposed to pick for my product? Well, first of all, let me help you understand the main universal product codes. First of all, you have the GTIN. It stands for Global Trade Item Number. It is a generic term for all major barcode types, and it is recognized almost anywhere in the world. So a lot of people, they'll call barcodes UPCs. It's actually incorrect. UPCs are just for selling in the US, just for selling in Canada. GTIN is the generic term for all the different barcodes. That's like the mother of them all, okay? Then you have the UPC, which stands for Universal Product Code. These are uniquely called UPC, specifically, again, for the US and for Canada. Now, most UPC codes are called UPC-12 or UPC-A. It's the same thing. It's a kind of UPC, it's the most common, and it has 12 digits. There's another one called UPC-E, letter E as in Edward, which only has 8 digits, and that's if you have a smaller product with less room to print, so you need a smaller code, a shorter code in order to get it onto the product, but those are not as common. The next one is the European Article Number, also known as the EAN. Now, most people think, well, this is only if you're selling in Europe. Not true. If you're selling in Mexico, if you're selling in Honduras, if you're selling in Cuba or any of these other places in South America, you're gonna use an EAN, as well as all the countries in Europe. It's basically used for all countries except the United States and Canada. I don't know, maybe Canadians and Americans like to be unique or something. The most common EAN code is called the EAN-13. So if someone says, hey, you got an EAN? They usually mean the 13-digit code. So most UPCs have 12 digits, most EANs have 13 digits. The EAN-8, however, is kind of like the UPC-E I was mentioning. It only has 8 digits, and that is for packages with less room. So first you got your GTIN up top, that's your main, the Global Trade Item Number. A UPC is a kind, and an EAN is a kind. These are the 3 most important universal product codes you need to understand. If you know these, you're gonna know 98% of everything you need to know when it comes to universal product codes. Now, when you create your Amazon listing, if you purchased a UPC code, you can select GTIN in the menu on the right side. You can select that, and then you can drop in your GTIN. Just understand a GTIN is typically a longer number. Usually it's 14 digits. If you want the UPC version of it, typically in most cases, you just remove the first 2 digits, which are almost always 2 zeros. Now you have 12 digits, and that's your UPC. Similar with an EAN. Again, if you purchased an EAN, you can select a GTIN or an EAN, just like the UPC. Just make sure you select the right one, you put in the right number for it. Now, what if Amazon or the seller platform won't accept my code and you know you got it from a legitimate source like GS1, which I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that, by the way. Well, if you already have a 14-digit EAN, there are actually some 14-digit ones out there, but the platform requires 12 or 13 digits for an EAN, just remove the first or 2 numbers or digits from the code and it should work just fine. If the seller platform requires 13 digits, for example, and your barcode is a UPC with 12 digits, you can add a 0 to the front of your code. Look at it this way, and don't overthink it, don't stress about it. The first few numbers usually don't matter as much. So if you need to add a 0 or remove a 0, give a 0, take a 0, give a couple zeros, take a couple zeros, you can make it work. Now, what about Amazon specific codes? Now, this is really interesting. You've probably heard of an ASIN. It is an Amazon Standard Identification Number. And the number is auto-assigned to your listing, and it is not something that you can change or edit. It is the easiest way to identify any listing on Amazon. If you know the ASIN, you can find the product. In fact, you even have that on PPC. You have people running ads on your ASIN sometimes. You can even search for a product by typing in the ASIN on the search bar on Amazon, as you can see right here. For books, the ASIN is the ISBN number. So instead of putting in the ASIN, you're gonna put in the ISBN, which is sort of like the UPC version for a book. They get the ISBN because, you know, books are special. It's also, the ASIN is in the URL of your Amazon listing right after where it says DP and then a slash, and it almost always is gonna start with B0. You know you've gone too far if you get to (REF), which means reference, which is data on how they searched a keyword to get there. But the ASIN is always in the URL after DP. Now let's talk about the GCID. You're also gonna see this when you create a new listing, and you're probably gonna go, what in the world is this global catalog identifier? Well, I'll explain to you exactly what it is. When you enroll your products in Amazon's brand registry, you may use a UPC code, or you can choose to use a GCID code instead if you want. Amazon will provide the GCID code for you. You don't have to go buy it from GS1. The way you do this is you're gonna fill out all the key attributes, the unique key attributes for your Amazon listing, even the SKU, which is just your own personal number to keep track of your product. It's not official anywhere. And Amazon will assign each of your brand registered products its own GCID. So for example, every single one of these boxes is a product identifier. And the only one you won't fill is where it says product ID. And notice how on the right side I have selected GCID. If you fill in all the other ones and you are brand registered, Amazon will populate the product ID for you, which means you don't have to buy the UPC. So step number one, you select GCID in the drop-down menu. Step number two, you enter all the unique product identifiers except for the product ID. And step number three, Amazon, ta-da, they give you your own GCID automatically. If you enter a UPC code in the product identifier field, then Amazon will not give you a GCID number, so keep that in mind. The last and not least, very important code you need to understand when you're sending products to Amazon's fulfillment center is the FNSKU. I can see you, like tonight, you're sleeping and you're like swimming in these numbers. And you can always go back, and below, guys, we have these timestamps, so it's really easy for you to navigate to the one you need to learn about, okay? This is so important. It stands for Fulfillment Networker, oh my word, Fulfillment Network Stop Keeping Unit. Amazon gives you an FNSKU. I don't even know how to say that fast. You can't say it fast. For each product variation, when you ship those products to Amazon's fulfillment center. For example, if you're selling Green Pirate coffee mugs, every single Green Pirate coffee mug needs an FNSKU on the product. Because when Amazon receives it, how do they know it's yours? They're not like, hey, that's a cool coffee mug. Out of the millions of sellers, I bet that's Seth's. Yeah, it's probably Seth's. Okay, we'll credit him. Like they have to have a code. You're like, well, wait a minute, Seth. I thought I was supposed to put the UPC or the EAN or the GTIN on the product code. Nope, you're not supposed to, and you shouldn't be. Are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. I'll explain that to you in a second. So you have three options to get these codes on your product. Option number one, you're gonna pay Amazon 20 pennies a piece, 20 pennies a piece to label these for you, which means it will delay getting it into the fulfillment center. It'll give you the option when you set up your shipping plan. Step number two, you can print the labels at home if you enjoy printing labels and touching sticky things, and label every single product yourself. And step number three, you can have your supplier print it onto the retail packaging, which is excelente, and that's exactly what you should be doing, and I'll tell you why. Where can I find these FNSKU codes? That word is so inconvenient to say. Come on, Amazon, can you come up with something easier? When you print your shipping label, Amazon will generate the code for you, and you can print it onto a PDF. You can choose if you're the merchant, by the way, see where it says the merchant option in the dropdown, or Amazon is going to affix the labels. When you print your shipping label, Amazon's gonna generate the code. You can save it as a PDF when you just go to the print item labels. You can also go to your manage inventory page and print them from the edit drop-down menu, which you're gonna see on the right side of every listing. Now, if print item label is not available, that simply means that your product listing is set up as FBM, fulfilled by merchant, which means you are shipping your own products when Bobby McGee and Lucy Pickleberry and all those other amazing people buy your product. instead of Amazon shipping it for you. The only reason you need an FNSKU is if Amazon's fulfilling it, because it goes in their fulfillment center. They have to know how to categorize the product, so when someone buys it, you get the cash for the sale. So you can easily switch it to FBA by selecting Change to Fulfilled by Amazon. Then the print item label option suddenly appears. Like magic. Now, here's what a sheet of FNSKU labels look like. It's the most interesting thing you've ever seen. In fact, I just want to show you an example of one. I brought this along. Check this out. This is awesome. So here, my friends, is an example of an FNSKU code right there. It looks like a UPC, but it's not. But Amazon systems can scan that in. See, it's not a sticker. I keep trying to scratch it, but nothing's coming off. It's printed into the retail packaging. That is an FNSKU code. Here's an example of a UPC code. Now, I know some products you buy from Amazon. I know that some of them come with a UPC. It is possible to put a UPC on at Amazon registers, but they tell you not to, and the day may come where that doesn't work anymore. So why not do what they ask? It's just smart. Very likely this shambong is being sold in a retail store, and that's why they have this on here, because they already printed the UPC on there and they made it work with Amazon. What codes physically go onto my product? The FNSKU code is printed onto your product's retail packaging or a sticker that goes into your packaging. You can actually get stickers like a meal sticker, get the stickers, and you literally take the sticker and you just put it on the product, okay? So this is your retail packaging. This isn't the physical product. If you wanna see the physical product, that's why they call it a trial pack. So look, it would look pretty cheesy and pretty bad if I had an FNSKU label on this. Additionally, it'd be kind of nuts because think about it. So I'm Amazon, right? And this is what you send me. If you send me this, are you actually saying, if I'm Amazon, you send me this, are you saying I have to go through the trial of getting everything out to scan it? No, you're gonna put it on the retail packaging. Keep it simple. So if your product, however, does not come with retail packaging, okay, here's an example. Usually hats, if they do, it's just a band. Sometimes they don't. It's just this, a hat, okay? I mean, come on, it doesn't need retail packaging. It's kind of a cool packaging itself, you know what I mean? So if it doesn't, then in that case, it would go somewhere like right there on the tag. So in that case, it will go on the product itself, but in most situations, it's gonna go on the retail packaging. Question, does the UPC or the EAN need to be printed onto my product? No, it does not, as I mentioned before, unless it's going into a physical retail store. However, if you're selling at Walmart or Home Depot or Kroger's, or other cool places, then yes, you will need it printed on there, and you can work that out with your manufacturer. This allows the store to enter the product into their inventory system so they can track your inventory levels. The point of sale system is at the retail store records the purchase of your product at checkout, and this creates a seamless experience for the customer so they can just scan it and they move on with their day. What about the other non-Amazon codes, Seth? Like, I know there's more out there, and you gave me this massive list of them, but what about the other ones? I'm gonna just tell you just a couple, the most important, because you will see these in the drop-down menu option when you create a new Amazon listing. Number one, your ISBN. It stands for International Standard Book Number, and as I mentioned, it replaces the UPC code. It's sort of like the ISBN is the GTIN for all the books. It uses 13 digits and is a special form of the EAN 13 code. Number two, you have JAN. She's cool, by the way. JAN stands for Japanese Article Number. JAN is another name for the EAN 13 barcode, but is specifically for Japan. Next, you have PZN. Even sounds German. It stands for Pharmazentralnummer. PZN is a code for a medicine identification in Germany. And finally, last but not least, you have what is called IAN, International Article Number, which is just a different term for an EAN. Is your mind swimming yet? I should just remember, the GTIN, UPC, EAN, those are the three most important for non-Amazon codes, universal. If you got those, you're good. What are the most important for Amazon? Your ASIN, which identifies the product on Amazon, your FNSKU, so you can identify it when it goes to Amazon's fulfillment center, that's only for FBA, not FBM, and then your GCID, which stands for brand registry, if you want to use a brand registry code instead of a UPC or EAN, which are both called GTIN. How you doing? Okay, so I hope you guys learned a ton from that training video. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to get more content like this, then make sure you subscribe. We're going to be bringing you a ton of content. Also, we do offer free training. If you want 90 minutes straight up workshop where I teach you all the most important things about building an Amazon business, make sure you click the link below and you can sign up for that. It's completely free. I will talk about our membership. Absolutely, I will. But there are no catches outside of that. Simply, we're gonna always be talking about our membership, but you will get a ton of value. Guys, I hope you have an awesome day. Hope you're getting a ton of value out of this channel. And one more thing, comment below what was your favorite part of this video, the most helpful. This feedback is really important to us. You have an awesome day.